So problem one, what is 25% of 620? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 25% as a decimal, and I'm going to do that by moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. So I'm going to do 0.25 times 620. And if I put that into my calculator, so I do 0.25 times 620, that's going to give me 155. And that's it. That's my answer to the first one. Okay, let's look at problem two. If 4y plus 6 equals 30, what is the value of y? So we have 4y plus 6 equals 30, and we want to solve for y. So we can do that by first subtracting 6 from both sides of the equation. So 6 minus 6 is 0, and we get 4y equals 24. Okay, we want to now get rid of the multiplication of 4 by y, so we can divide by 4, do the inverse operation. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 1 times y is just y. So we get y equals 24 divided by 4, which is 6. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Problem 3. Given the following table of values, write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, so we start with x equals 1, and then we go to x equals 2. Y, meanwhile, jumps from 5 to 8. So if we do our formula for slope, which is y2, or y sub 2, minus y sub 1, which basically means the second y value minus the first y value, divided by the second x value minus the first x value. Well, we have 8 minus 5 over 2 minus 1. So our slope, 8 minus 5 is 3, 2 minus 1 is 1, so 3 over 1. Slope is 3. Okay, but we have to figure out the y-intercept. So that's when x equals 0. So notice how as I go up 1 in x, I go up 3 in y. Meanwhile, if I went down 1 in x, so if it went from, down to 0 here for x, from 1 to 0, I would go down in 3 in y, so it would go down to 2. So my y-intercept is 2. The b is 2. So again, we're going to follow this form y equals mx plus b. So now we've got m is 3. We've got b is 2. So we can write our answer as y equals 3x plus 2. And we're done with that one. Next one, write the equation of a line based on the table below. Okay. So again, we want to look at our slope. We're increasing by 1 in x. So as we go up from each x value, we go up by 1. And we're decreasing in y by 2. So we're going down 2 as we go up 1. So our slope is actually negative 2. Okay, because we go down 2 each one. And again, we're not given 0. So if we went from 1 to 0, we'd actually go up 2 on y. So we'd go, where x equals 0, y would be 9. So our y-intercept, our b value, is going to be 9. And again, we're going to use the y equals mx plus b. So y equals negative 2x plus 9 is going to be our formula. All right, problem 5. Let's keep going. The line given by the equation y equals negative 4x plus 1 is parallel to which of the following lines? Well, parallel lines have the same slope. So we have to look for a slope of negative 4, okay, because the slope is right there. So the first one, the slope is positive 4, so we're going to cross that one off. That one doesn't work. Third one, the slope is 1/4. That one doesn't work. Problem D, the slope is 1. That one doesn't work. But the one that has a slope of -4 is y equals -4x plus 6. So that's answer B. So we're going to select that one. All right, next problem. The line is given by the equation 5x plus 4y equals 20. Which of the following equations represents a line parallel to it? So this is written in standard form, and we want to find out the slope by putting it in slope-intercept form. So I have 5x plus 4y equals 20. And I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. 5x minus 5x is 0. We get 4y equals a negative 5x plus 20. Running out of room there. I'm going to divide everything by 4. And let me move this over so I get y equals negative 5/4 x plus 5. Now I want a line that has a slope negative 5/4. So let's look. Let's first cancel out the ones that aren't negative 5/4. So positive 5/4 doesn't work. Negative 4/5 doesn't work. Negative 4/4 doesn't work. But problem or solution A is y equals negative 5/4 x plus 4. So we have the same slope and we have a different y-intercept. That's important too because if it was the same y-intercept, it would be the same line. But we have a different y-intercept. So uh, the line in solution A is parallel to line 5x plus 4y equals 20. All right, let's keep going. Problem 7. Find the equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals 1/7 x minus 3 and passes through the point 2, 3. Okay, so first off, we got to figure out what the slope would be. Now, the slope of perpendicular lines, it's the negative reciprocal, or they're the negative reciprocal of one another. So I'm going to flip the top and the bottom and change the sign. So I would make my new slope that I'm looking for negative 7/1. Anything divided by 1 is itself. So the slope is going to be negative 7. And we're given the point 2, 3. So we can use point slope form to write the equation of the line. So we can say y minus the y value given 3 equals the slope negative 7 times x minus the x value given, which is 2. And there we go. All right, next one. Write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x minus 7 and it intersects the point 5, 3. So another one. So we have to figure out the slope. It's the negative reciprocal. So I'm going to flip the 1 and the 3 to make it 3/1. And I'm going to change the sign. This is positive. We're going to make it negative. So it's going to be a negative 3 divided by 1, which is negative 3. And we've got the point. So we're going to say y minus the y value. Y minus 3 equals negative 3 times x minus the x value, which is 5. Hi guys, I'm hoping you're finding this video useful to this point. If you are, you know what you could do that would help me out a lot is give the video a like and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm and it'd mean a ton to me. All right, let's get back to the video.
We are on problem 11, which reads, if the function f of x equals 6 plus x, what is the value of f of 36? All right, so to find f of 36, what we're going to do is we're going to put in, where x is here, we're going to put in 36, right? We just substitute in the value of x. All right, so f of 36 is going to be 6 plus 36. 6 plus 36 is 42. So that's all there is to it. That is f of 36. Okay, let's look at problem 12. If the equation y equals 3x plus 5 represents a line, what is the slope of the line? Well, this is in the form y equals mx plus b. And when it's in that form, b is your y-intercept. And m is your slope. So our slope is 3. So m, the slope, equals 3. All right? All right, let's keep going. Problem 9. How many yards are equivalent to 648 inches? Now, 1 yard equals 36 inches. So we're going to take 648, and that's inches, and then multiply by our conversion factor, which is 1 yard for every 36 inches. Well, what's going to happen here is the inches are going to cancel out. And so you're going to get 648 times 1. That's going to be just 648. So you have 648 divided by 36. And the unit is going to be yards. So let's figure that out in Desmos. All right, so we've got 648, and we're going to divide by 36, and that's going to give us 18 yards. So our solution here is going to be 18 yards. All right, sweet. Okay, next one. What is the mean of the data set? 1, 5, 7, 7, and 9. Okay, so we're going to add up all these values and then divide by the number of values. There are 5 values in this data set. So let's add them up first. So we have 1 plus 5 plus 7 plus 7 plus 9. And we're going to divide all of that by 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 7 is 13. 13 plus 7 is 20. And 20 plus 9 is going to be 29. So our mean is going to be 29 divided by 5. That's going to be 5 4/5, or 5.8. So that's going to be our mean. 5.8. All right, let's keep going. Problem 13. Solve the following system of equations using elimination. Okay, so notice here we have 5x plus 2y equals 10, and then we have x minus 2y equals 2. Now what happens if we add these two equations? The 2y plus the minus 2y is going to be 0, and these are going to cancel out. So 5x plus x, that's 6x. 2y plus a negative 2y, those are going to cancel out. So these are going to cancel out here. And then we have 10 plus 2, that's going to be 12. So we're going to get 6x equals 12. We'll divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we get x equals 12 divided by 6, which is 2. So the x value is 2. Now we got to solve for y. So we can say, let's plug into this bottom equation here. We can say 2 minus 2y equals 2. Okay, so let's subtract 2 from both sides. And I'm running out of room here, so let's make some room. And I just made a note over here that x equals 2, which we just figured out. So now 2 minus 2 is 0, so we have minus 2y equals 2 minus 2 over here, 0. If I divide both sides by -2, well, the -2's cancel here, and I get y equals 0 divided by -2, which is just 0. So my solution is 2, 0. All right, next one. Solve the following system of equations using elimination again. Okay, this time it's not as easy. If I multiply the bottom equation by -1, though, and I add these up, the x's will cancel. So I could rewrite this as -x minus y equals -4. That's essentially multiplying everything in this equation by -1. And if I add that to x minus 3y equals 12, I can eliminate my x's. Okay, so x minus x, well, that's going to be 0. So the x's, they cancel each other out. And then we have -3y minus another y, that's -4y. That's going to equal 12 minus 4, which is 8. To solve for y, we'll divide both sides by -4. The -4's will cancel here, and we'll get y equals -2. Okay, now we have this equation, x plus y equals 4. So let's substitute in y. So x plus -2 equals 4. So to get rid of the -2, we have to add 2 to both sides. Two minus 2 is 0. These cancel, and we get x equals 6. So our solution here is going to be 6, -2. 6, -2 is our solution. Let's go do a couple more problems, and then we'll stop there. So find the next term in the sequence. This is an arithmetic sequence. We have 2, then 5, then 8. The common difference here, d, that's going to be equal to 3. So if I take this last term here, 8, and I add 3, I'll get my next term, which is going to be 11. Okay? Next one, find the 100th term in the sequence. So we have to have the explicit definition here for this arithmetic sequence. The explicit definition, the general form, is a sub n, the nth term, equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times the common difference d. Let me fix that parenthesis there. Okay, so the first term is going to be 2, so that's a sub 1. We want the 100th term. We don't know what that is, but we know that n, the number of terms, is going to be 100. And we know that when we go from term to term here, from 2 to 5 and then 5 to 8, our common difference d is going to be equal to 3. So we're going to say the 100th term, so a sub 100, equals our first term, 2, plus 100 minus 1. And the reason that works is, you don't add the common difference for the first term, but to get to the second term, you add it once. To get the third term from the first term, you add it twice. That's why we have the minus 1 there. And then we're going to multiply that by 3. Okay, so this is going to equal 2 plus 99, 100 minus 1, times 3. All right, so this is the 100th term. So a sub 100. And we're going to figure that out on Desmos. So we're going to do 2 plus 99 times 3, and we get 299. So the 100th term is equal to 299. We're at problem 17. that reads, find the missing term in the arithmetic sequence. And we have 2 and 10. So what we're going to do is find the arithmetic mean, which I'll abbreviate as AM here. And to do that, we're going to take the average between 2 and 10. So we'll add 2 plus 10 and then divide by the amount of numbers we have, which is 2 here, to find our average. So 2 plus 10 is 12. And if we do 12 divided by 2, that's going to be 6. So our missing term here is going to be 6. All right, next one. We're going to factor x squared plus 7x plus 10. This is a factoring problem where the number in front of x squared, which we typically refer to as a, is equal to 1. So what I can do is list the factors of 10. I have a positive here and a positive here, so I'm just going to list positive factors. So I could multiply 1 by 10 to get 10. And I could also do 2 times 5. Now I want to pick the pair of factors that adds up to the coefficient in front of x here, which is 7. So that would be a positive 2 and a positive 5. And then to write this in factored form, I'd write it as x plus 2 times x plus 5. And that would be my final solution here. Okay. All right, let's go and look at the next problem. So problem 19, this time we're factoring, again, x squared minus 7x plus 10. The last one was plus 7x. We still have our number in front of x squared as equal to 1. I'm going to list the factors of 10 this time, but this time I'm going to stick to negative factors because we're trying to add to a negative 7. So I could multiply negative 1 by negative 10, or negative 2 times negative 5. Now, negative 2 plus negative 5, that adds to negative 7. So that's the pair I want to pick. And to write this in factored form, I would write this as x minus 2 times x minus 5. And that's my factored form for this one. All right, next one, we're solving. And we'll solve by factoring. It's solving x squared plus 11x plus 30. So first off, we want to factor it. We have a plus here and a plus here, so I'm going to list the positive factors of 30. Those are 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and 5 and 6. Now 5 plus 6 adds to 11. That's the pair of factors I want. So I'm going to write this in factored form as x plus 5 times x plus 6, and that equals 0. Now we are supposed to solve this. So now what I'm going to use is the zero product property, and basically what that allows me to do is set each of these factors equal to 0 and solve for x. Why does that work? Well, if x plus 5 was 0, 0 times whatever x plus 6 would be 0. And if x plus 6 equals 0, whatever x plus 5 is times 0 is 0. Okay, so I'm going to set x plus 5 equal to 0. And I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides here. 5 minus 5 is 0. We can cross those off, and we get x equals negative 5 as one of our solutions. I'm also going to set x plus 6 equal to 0. And I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. 6 minus 6 is 0. So we get just x equals 0 minus 6, or x equals negative 6. So our two solutions here are x equals negative 6 and x equals negative 5. All right, let's move on to problem 21. All right, problem 21, we are factoring a difference of squares pattern. That pattern follows the form a squared minus b squared, and that factors into a plus b times a minus b. All right, so if I think a squared is equal to x squared and b squared is equal to 81, well then square root of a squared, which will give us a, is going to be equal to x. And if I take the square root of b squared, which is going to give me b, I also have to take the square root of 81. So I take the square root of one side, I have to take the square root of the other. So b is going to be 9. So this is going to factor into x plus 9 times x minus 9. And there we go with that one. All right, next one, we're going to factor x squared plus 12x plus 36. Now this is I recognize the pattern, but the pattern is this is what we call a perfect square trinomial. So it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared is the form. And that's going to factor into a plus b squared. All right, so we'd want to check to make sure this is a perfect square trinomial. So if we say a squared equals x squared and b squared equals 36, well, if I want to solve for a, I got to take the square root of a squared. So I got to also take the square root of x squared. What I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So the square root of a squared is a. Square root of x squared is x. If I want to figure out what b is, I have to take the square root of b squared, and therefore I'd have to take the square root of 36. So b is going to be equal to the square root of 36, which is 6. Okay, so we want to check that 2ab is equal to 12x. And if that works out, then this is a perfect square trinomial, and I can just write this as x plus 6 squared, a plus b squared, right? So 2ab is going to be 2 times x times 6, which is going to be 12x. So that's what we want. So this is a perfect square trinomial. So the factored form is going to be a plus b, quantity a plus b squared. So it's going to be x plus 6 squared. All right. Let's keep going. This next one here says factor 9x squared plus 36x plus 36. So I'm thinking this is a perfect square trinomial. So let's check. A squared would be the first term, 9x squared. B squared would be the last term, 36. The square root of a squared is going to be a, so we'll take the square root of both sides to figure out what a is. So a is going to be the square root of 9x squared, which is just 3x. To find b, we have to take the square root of b squared, so we'd have to take the square root of 36. So b is going to equal the square root of 36, which is 6. Let's check to make sure this is a perfect square trinomial. So we do 2 times a times b, and that should be 36x. So we do 2 times 3x times 6. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 6x times 6 is 36x. So this does check out. It is a perfect square trinomial. It will factor into the form of the quantity a plus b squared. In this case, 3x plus 6 squared. Okay, and that's it for that one. All right, next one. We're going to solve 25x squared plus 40x plus 16 equals 0. I think this is a perfect square trinomial. Let's check. So a squared is going to be 25x squared, first term. B squared is going to be 16. So to solve for a, I need to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of a squared is a. The square root of 25x squared is 5x. To solve for b squared, and I'm going to have to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of b squared is b, and square root of 16 is 4. Okay, so 2ab. So again, we're checking to make sure that this is a perfect square trinomial. It's going to be 2 times 5x times 4. So 2 times 5x is 10x, times 4 is 40x. So that equals our middle term. So this is a perfect square trinomial, meaning the left-hand side is going to factor to 5x plus 4 squared, and that equals 0. So now if I want to solve for x, I'm going to have one unique solution here. And it's basically the vertex is going to bounce off the x-axis. It's going to be a parabola that opens up. But all I have to do to find the one solution, one unique real solution here, is set 5x plus 4 equal to 0. So I'll subtract 4 from both sides here. 4 minus 4 is 0. And I'll get 5x equals negative 4. I'll then divide both sides by 5. So my one solution is x equals negative 4/5. That's my one unique real solution. Boom. Okay. Last one. Looks like another perfect square trinomial, but let's check. So I'm going to check that by saying a squared is going to be the first term, so 100x squared. B squared is going to be the last term, so 49. To solve for a, I need to take the square root of a squared. That means if I do one thing to the left-hand side, I have to do it to the right-hand side. So square root of a squared is a. Square root of 100x squared is 10x. Okay, I want to solve for b squared, so I'm going to take the square root of b, or solve for b, so I'm going to take the square root of b squared, which is b. I also have to take the square root of 49, the other side, and that's going to be 7. Okay, so 2ab is going to be, well, that's going to be 2 times 10x times 7. That's going to be 140x. So this is a perfect square trinomial, meaning the factored form is going to be 10x, the quantity 10x plus 7 squared.
You must really like this video. Hey, do you know someone that would also like this video? Could you do me a favor and share it with them? Thanks a lot. Hope to see you in the next one.